Welcome back to Show Em The Dore, the only podcast recorded inside the sun. It is so hot in here, all the time. We will be sweating by the end of this episode, and I know that's what you all came for.
Chris.
So, yeah?
I was like, good gracious.
No.
It's hot in here.
It is extremely hot in here.
Thus,
what is the next proceeding
what's the
step?
solution?
Nelly, indeed. We were going to have a guest today, but there was a lot of scheduling conflicts, which is why we didn't announce it. But that means that we can pretty much confirm that we're going to have one next week. So look out on the Show Em The Dore Instagram and maybe Twitter if I tweet that. I'm more just live tweet games. But for the next guest for next Wednesday, it's going to be hype. It's going to be a good time. I'm pretty excited about it, actually, because I think up until the end of this season, we're going to have a guest on every single week, which is, again, I think only like at least 2 more episodes. There might be a third. I'm not sure. But we're really close to the end of the season because it's this episode next week with the person that we're not going to announce just yet, and then the next week with the person that we're not going to announce just yet. So...
I do remember now.
Yes, now you do.
I am a member of this podcast.
You definitely are one of the podcast hosts of all time. Yep. With that being said, I'm very excited to actually recap some sports because it's been not a busy sports week. I mean, it's just baseball at this point. We can comment on some basketball stuff, I'm sure. But overall, I'm very excited about the trajectory and how this season has gone. If we had a season report, it was really upsetting not losing our relationship with Barstool, which kind of sucks.
Nah.
No, I mean, you cannot be upset by that. But, I don't know. I like David. David's cool. I'm not trying to slander David by any means.
It's actually libel.
Is it? Is spoken slander libel?
Well, since it's in this way.
Okay, cool, man.
I'm sorry, I'm
not
lawyer.
I'm not trying to speak on bro's name for real.
Speaking on my name.
I'm sure he just got busy and then realized that, maybe...
It takes a lot of time to be a fifth-year senior.
Yeah. Oh, God. And so, hopefully, if he wants to repair a relationship, that's really going to be on him. I'm not going to reach out for him.
He's got to apologize. Offers Jimmy John's.
I don't want an apology.
I want Jimmy John's.
I would just want him to be like, bro, I got, hella busy. Are you still down to be, part of it? Anyway, but after that, I was a little worried about how our season was gonna go because they repost stuff with our guests and we get a lot of attraction from that kind of area.
I get a lot of get a lot of attraction regardless.
I meant to say the word traction. I added the I wonder why.
What?
But. What we've actually seen is that the videos that we've had with guests this season have been doing better than they did even when we were with Barstool. So
yeah. So in conclusion, he broke. We're up.
Facts. He is broke. We are up. Legitimately in terms of views and subscribers. That's pretty exciting. I know that based on our trajectory, we would almost reach 100 next season, which is really cool. We're hoping to meet a lot more people. We're trying to get more people in the works for next semester already because you kind of have to coordinate with seasons. But just for a couple housekeeping issues, that's how our life is going.
Housekeeping?
Do you have any other housekeeping things, Guillermo?
Well, I'm not going to bounce my leg as much this episode, but I will yawn more.
Okay.
I got the medicine.
The medicine, which helps one of the 2 issues that my mom frequently says about the podcast.
It's terrible for the other issue.
Yeah.
I have a heart problem.
Yeah. Amanda just has problems. All of them.
99.
Yeah, but...
However...
Well... Real quick, do follow our social media account and also subscribe to the YouTube account. I haven't said that in a lot of episodes, but boy, is there going to be a card right about here, right here, Take like 5 seconds. I'm gonna like for about 5 seconds while you subscribe. Okay, it should be done. There'll be a little card right here that probably says like sub, I'm sad or something. I add something. I think last week said Bella wants you to sub. So that's really awesome. Well, hopefully that'll work maybe one time for the boys.
Who was it that was like, yeah, I subscribed because you told me to?
Somebody
told us. They're like...
And just to be clear, Brooke doesn't subscribe to the podcast. So...
That's it.
That's it. Willem's breaking up with you. We're calling her right now on the podcast. Our clickbait title is going to be, Willem breaks up with his girlfriend? Willem's gotten beaten up and jumped. And
it's been a rough few weeks.
Yeah, it's been terrible. It's been crazy on Show Em The Dore. Yeah, at one point you died, right? Because there's the episode where you drank milk or something. What did you do? You ate something that had milk in it, maybe.
It was the chocolate.
Oh, yeah, and you like coughed. I clipped that for the thumbnail.
Your mom gave us those Easter chocolate things.
Yeah.
I'm going to die.
Yeah, but you're going to die happy because I know you're going to eat that.
That's the thing, man. I can't not. It's like...
No, you have poor impulse control.
Oh, man, if they would only give me Adderall.
Well, if it didn't take you 3 months to do your ADHD thing, maybe...
Well, one could say that that's what guarantees me a spot on the roster, Chris.
One could say that's
the ADHD roster.
I think that
I made it a team.
Some people say that's a consolation prize. You're coping right now. Copington.
Pepperoni and cheese.
Yeah, copium. But with that being said, I think we actually are done with housekeeping. We're not
sports.
We're not going to spend 26 minutes talking. I don't think we can beat the 26 minutes without sports thing.
Sadly.
Man, you really got to work on that.
Tell it to the heart.
You got to work on that. Like,
well, he's beaten fine now.
He's beaten, but boy is your mouth moving in a yawning fashion. Yeah.
So I haven't been able to feel my heartbeat all day, but I know it's regular.
Willem flatlines on the podcast.
So here's the thing, viewers. My heartbeat is irregularly fast, sometimes randomly.
Yep.
It's odd. So I tell ye old psychiatrist about it because I don't know who else to tell that to. I'm not going to go to the doctor.
Yeah, because...
And she's like, sounds like acute anxiety. And I'm like, you call me cute? And she wasn't. She was just saying, I have problems. And so she's like, yeah, here's some medicine. And I'm like, more? For me?
Just a taste.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't.
I dabble.
So I had to get 3 medicines from CVS the other day. Yeah, I'm messed up.
Gosh. Well, that's it. Maybe you should just get taken out to a farm upstate.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Where's the butterfly farm they're going to send me to?
Yeah,
like,
genuinely.
Back in the days, they killed people for this stuff.
Back in the days, people who had this stuff just died.
Yeah, they would have forgotten about me.
Yeah.
If it was, like, legitimately
Romans would have sent you down the Tiber River.
Nah, they would have fed me to the lions.
The lions?
Yeah, they did that. They like, fed Christians to the lions.
In Rome?
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, ancient Rome, like, ancient... like mythology type Rome, where like they throw you down the Tiber with like the wolves and shit, like the Lupa, the wolf goddess. That's cool. I read Percy Jackson, but
yeah, I like wolves.
Yeah, I'm a Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart kind of guy.
I was gonna sing "Wolves" by Kanye West, but at the beginning, 1, I couldn't remember, and 2, it's too high pitched.
Yeah,
I'm having a very bad night.
So. Real sports.
Baseball.
We played 8 games of baseball since we've spoken last. And so I and Willem and I are going to detail those 8 games for you. So, starting with the Georgia series. Willem, who was our Friday night starter?
Baseball. Friday night?
Yep.
Well, I can tell you, it's Carter Holton.
Exactly. So, we played Georgia, and we swept Georgia in those 3 games. Because Georgia's a bunch of bums. We started... George? There really wasn't a time that series was all that tense. The closest it got to being tense was in Game 2 when we were up 8-2, and then Thomas Schultz allowed 5 runs in the 8th inning to make it 8-7, which we effectively stomped by scoring.
Is that the one that we went to? We went to a game?
No.
When did we last go to a game?
We went to the Lipscomb game last, did we not?
Right.
We haven't gone to one since, have we?
No, we went to one.
I think Georgia was away. We went to the Georgia game for a second, grabbed the jersey, left.
Then we went back the next day, because that's where we got sunburned.
Then it was Sunday, because we saw Futrell. Yeah, it was Georgia. So you actually know about that game. Mm-hmm. But it was Futrell, definitely, because remember he pitched like 8 innings. Scoreless. But I totally forgot about that. I watched Game 1 and Game 2 on TV. Game 1 was easy. Carter Holton threw, I think, 7.
7?
Yeah, innings. It was.
I was going to ask for the unit of measurement there. He threw 7 to what, Chris? A geese?
I have a couple times an episode where you say something and I'm just like, ugh. It's like, it really like hits me like thick and then like not like a smack. It's like a, you know what I'm saying? It's like real gross.
You gotta really feel it.
It's like if you're walking through the swamp, cutting things down with a katana and a random vine, like, it rolls across your face.
It a katana.
What would you call it?
A machete.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I watched Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I did too.
I made a new one.
Time ago. Really? I heard that. Is Harrison Ford?
Yeah. When he dies, I'll cry.
Is he still Indiana Jones?
Yeah, what do you like upgrade to?
Well, I thought maybe it would be like one of those like Star Wars arcs where it's like, oh, you teach the younger one. I don't think that's a ridiculous question.
Does that not make him still Indiana Jones?
Okay, I guess a better question that was very clear and evident based on what you said, based on the conversation we had, was, is Indiana Jones still like the feature? Yeah.
Okay, so you're asking me if it's like Cars 4.
Yes. Almost precisely. I think that's I don't think that's
a watch Cars 4? It's a good movie.
Oh, since we're asking the audience things, we're going to start a quick poll for our viewers. Down below in the comments, there are 2 main versions of the song Wagon Wheel. And Willem and I have differing opinions on which one is the best. I'm not going to explain those opinions.
He's far more passionate than me.
That is not true. And the fact of the matter is I've just said that my version was better, and man's been like, I guess I'm just a traditionalist. Like,
I said that because I was joking.
You said, yeah, uh-huh.
I would like a
man's like, I even talked to Willem's girlfriend because she shares the opinion with me, and he was like, yeah, he was not happy with my opinion. So don't let Willem undersell you on his passion regarding this debate. I think she's speaking truth on your name, to be honest with you. She's just spitting.
Do you want to see the conversation?
Do you want to see the conversation I had with her?
Do you want to see the conversation she's referring to?
No,
where I was like,
why don't you back that up with a source?
My source is what I mean.
But all I'm saying is I received a text today that said, yeah, he really didn't like my opinion. And so,
which could be said for a lot of things. I'm kidding.
But the point is, so there are 2 versions of the song Wagon Wheel. There is one by the Old Crow Medicine Show and one by Darius Rucker, who is the lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish.
Hootie.
And they're 2 very good versions. I will not speak bad on either of them because I like them both, but one of them I like more. I would like for you guys to tell me in the comments below which version you like more. And while you're scrolling back up on your YouTube page, why don't you hit that like button?
Convenience.
We got our first dislike on a couple episodes ago.
Thank you.
So whoever's hating on us, pull up.
Whoever's praying on our downfall?
Yeah, whoever's praying on our podcast downfall, it's definitely working on Willem. Man's heart's going crazy.
No, dude.
The next dislike we get, he's going to upgrade to 5 medicines.
Oh, no, it's exponential.
Yeah, for real. An interesting mathematical conundrum. So back to the Georgia games. Holton pitched really well. Through the first roughly 9 games of our SEC play, which we've talked about the 6 Mississippi games in 2 weeks ago's episode. Watched the episode with Bella last week, but 2 weeks ago's episode. It seemed like it was going to be more of the same with Georgia. We were shelling their pitchers. A guy had to get taken out. The first game was actually, it was close for a while. And Georgia's depth of pitching is they have two really good starters. Really good is actually relative. They have two decent starters. And then their bullpen's terrible, and they don't know who's pitching on Sunday. And so their first starter, he's the guy that throws right and left. And I think, or was that the Mississippi? That was the Mississippi State guy. That was the Mississippi State guy. I'm so sorry. Because when you take a week off, it blurs them a little bit, right? So
I'm blurred either way.
Yeah, Robin Thicke over here.
I hate these blur lines.
We're gonna get DMCA striked for that. But
it's a banger. I'm glad we thought the same thing.
Yeah,
because I was gonna sing it, and I was gonna be really disappointed if you didn't share my sentiment.
Yeah. Okay. And so it was a good game. We won handily once we knocked their starting pitcher out. There wasn't really a game that we were worried because like our pitching depth is just crazy, and we'll speak more on the pitching depth when we get to this week. Like last week's game was with Missouri, because there's a complication, as we will see. So the second game we're against one of Georgia's pitchers. I think his last name is Condor or so. No, I'm okay, but thank you. Because I don't eat on my podcast.
Is it Condon?
Might be.
No, that's the left fielder.
That's the hitter. Yeah. But it's I think his name is that is the left fielder. But I think the Saturday's guy's last name is Sullivan. He had a really good week this past week where he pitched like
James P. Sullivan.
No. But he pitched.
I'm really good on my Disney knowledge. Pixar.
He pitched this weekend, I think, 8 innings scoreless and hitless, if I remember correctly. It might have just been scoreless, but it was like if anybody was going to challenge Futrell for pitcher of the week this past week, which we'll get into, it was going to be that guy. So he's really good, and we actually kind of beat him pretty bad. He was the pitcher that we teed off against the most in terms of starting pitchers. And so we had a nice little 8-2 run by the 8th inning, and then we throw in Thomas Schultz. And I'm like, Tommy S., my boy.
Tommy S., the dude that created Charlie Brown.
Sure. And I was like, Thomas Schultz, best reliever in baseball last year, gonna get us this W. Proceeds to give up I think it's 8-3 actually, because I think he gives up 4 runs in the inning and gets pulled for Maldo, I think. And I'm like, well, not your best outing there, Tommy S. But instead of it being a very, very tense 9th inning, we put up 8 in the top of the 9th. So we ended the game 16-8 because Maldo got 3 outs because he's a dog. And we walk into Sunday, where I'm a little concerned about our pitching depth, because we used Liboki on the first day because Liboki's that guy. And then we had...
Spell Liboki.
Hliboki. Yeah, I watch the games. So we walk into Sunday, and I'm like, I don't even know who's available, to be honest with you. I might keep it a stack.
Chris is.
Wait, what? Chris is. I could have thrown a couple pitches. I don't know if any of them would have been strikes, and if they were, I'm pretty sure they would have been hit. But
Chris is available.
I was available to pitch.
For any of you that are wondering.
Yeah, for when Coach Corbin hits my line this Sunday, then you guys know what's up.
Chris is available.
But
his availability's great.
My availability is nuts, evidently. But so Futrell gets up there. I'm a little worried about pitching. We're actually at the game, and Futrell is doing his thing. He's a contact pitcher, which can be a problem in college baseball. Except we have probably the best defense in college baseball. And
I like contact pitchers.
I don't in college baseball.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And in MLB, it makes sense because everybody's such a star defender. But in college baseball, if you don't have amazing fielders, being a contact pitcher just means you give up a lot of hits. But I Futrell just does it so well. His pitch counts have stayed low the past 2 weeks, but in this Georgia game is the first of those 2 weeks, I guess. So he makes it all the way through the 8th entirely scoreless. He pitched 110 pitches in 8 innings. That's, I wanted him pulled before the 8th to be honest. Not because he was doing poorly, just because like I don't want you to wear out your arms. I don't want you to wear out your arms in the first half of the season and then have them, be more fatigued when playoffs come. Because, I mean, how this team is playing, we're going to be playing into May and June, which, just based on seeding alone, if we're the 4th seed, we make it to Omaha easily. And then we make it close to the finals. So, it's just that's purely on seeding, of course. But... So, I don't want you to ruin your pitchers now in terms of, fatigue. But he came out for the 8th, pitched 110, got 8 scoreless, was amazing. I think Riley came in for the 9th, and Riley had a really nice inning as well, actually. I think he's getting some confidence back. And based on the fact that he didn't pitch in this last Tuesday's game, I think he's going to be pitching for the South Carolina game this weekend. Not the point, though. So... that was a Georgia series. We swept them. We moved to 9-0 in SEC play. Only the first time that's been done in twice since 1978. The other time was Tennessee last year, who went 12-0. So then we had a midweek game versus, was that Lipscomb?
WKU.
The WKU. We just trashed them. There was
it's WKU. Can't think of a single good thing except Zion used to go there.
Yeah, that's factual. And used to? Does he not go anywhere?
I don't think so.
Well,
he works. Working man.
Working 9 to 5. Would have made him make a living. But so we just beat the heck out of WKU. I didn't even watch that game to be real.
I ain't going.
I know they have a guy that's 5'2", and so he's very, very small.
Good for him.
And he gets on base a decent amount, so
I'm sure he does. There's no strike zone.
Yeah, it's facts. But he hits. Anyway, so we then played Missouri, the Zoo, and we went into the first game, and their pitching is a little odd because they've had a lot of injuries. And so they started their midweek pitcher on Thursday. It was actually a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series because of the fact it was Easter weekend. So on
good old Easter.
On Thursday,
how do you feel about eggs?
I'm a big egg guy. Some consider me an egg connoisseur.
An
eggosaur. As though I were from the dinosaur age.
We have expired eggs in our fridge.
Are they expired?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because I was going to make some after work the other day, and I'm like, they're 3 days expired, so now they're a week expired.
Did they smell bad?
Nah. I didn't smell them.
They're probably good.
I'm going to throw them.
Okay, then do that. You guys know that Willem doesn't do the dishes in our apartment ever?
Hey, that's not true. I start the dishes, never put them up.
Why?
I don't know. I forget about it.
Okay.
I'm forgetful. Give me some Adderall. University.
I feel like the last few times we've done it, I've been like, I've had to move stuff from the sink in there, and I moved stuff from the sink in there, and then it started. I'm like, oh, okay, so man, just put some detergent in it, and then a few days will go by, and I'm like, why is it still here? Because I'll be looking for a cup, and I'm like, oh my god, they're all in the thing. So then I unload the dishwasher, and then there's a bunch of stuff in the sink, and so I move it into the dishwasher, and then that night it started, and I'm like, oh, hold on a second, this is not how this should work. I'm like, the detergent pressing the button, not exactly equidistant there, but not the point, I suppose.
It's the same thing I do with my laundry.
Yeah, sure, except your laundry is purely yours, and our plates and cups are ours.
Yeah, but conceptually it's the same thing.
Yeah, sure.
I start them and then I just leave them in the dryer forever.
Yeah.
And I take them out of the dryer. And then if I need a cup, I'll take it out of the clean dishwasher.
Yeah.
It's not a good system, but it's what I do.
The thing is, though I don't know. I'm just a person that's like, you can use any of your own systems as long as it doesn't affect your... Yeah.
I'm just now getting that.
No, I know,
it was not warm earlier, but boy, is it warm now. Open that window, brother.
I'm not going to open that window. Because that would require me getting up, going off frame, messing with my mic, and then opening the window, which will be loud on the mics. Not the point. So, Missouri.
Mike Jones.
Midweek pitcher for Mizzou. had been having a good season, kind of like what Futrell was doing last year for us. Had a really good ERA, but it was against midweek teams. And this was like, I really think that Mizzou, who beat Tennessee in their first series at home, they swept them, and then lost to like kind of bad teams and got swept the next 2 weeks. I think it was by Georgia and Kentucky. At that point, it was like they were just like, okay, with the injuries that had just happened, because their starting pitcher got hurt like on Tuesday or something like that in like a warm-up or like in a bullpen. At that point, they were just like, we just got to throw some guys out there. I mean, if we get shelled by Vandy, they're the number 4 team in the nation. It's not going to be the biggest deal, but we got to find something that works. We have to find some sort of life. And that pitcher was really good, actually. That midweek guy, he was like, he will be a starter in the SEC for as long as he is at Missouri. He is very good, and as somebody who's just a fan of good pitching, like it was nice to see. Like his breaking balls were crazy. The contact that he pitched to was, weak contact that went, directly to an infielder. It was we fought tooth and nail, and we won that game 5-4. Another part of why pitching is such a big deal in this game is because Carter Holton didn't play this week. Carter Holton was addressed before the game, and it said that he had soreness, and so he was not going to pitch this week. So that is wildly important, because that means we have to magically find a starter from somewhere, and then have that starter perform like a Friday night ace should, and then we're going to take that from a bullpen somewhere, and then also make up for all of the fact that we're taking innings away from the bullpen. And so it's this huge strain on us on a week that is already 1 day less rest for pitchers. So we had Cunningham, Bryce, there it is. Bryce Cunningham, he pitched for us. He went 6 innings. He gave up 3 or 4 runs. For a guy who started last year and then came out of the bullpen for a lot of this year, getting a start on not that much rest, I thought he did really, really well. I think that if you pitch 6 and some and you give up 3 runs with the bullpen that we do have, like, you put us in a position to win. Especially the fact that our offense has been a bit better, though it wasn't very good in this Mizzou series. But we ended up winning 5-4. And it was really crazy. The last play of the game was we got in 2 outs because we brought in Maldo, because Maldo's that guy. And we got 2 outs, and then this last guy had about a 14-pitch at-bat. It was wild. And man finally smokes one off of the left field wall. Calvin Hewitt, who was playing left at the time, runs into the wall, and it bounces towards center. And this guy decides to take a stand-up double into a potential for a triple, turns second, sprinting for third. Bradfield gets the ball, throws it to Vastine, who's the cutoff man. Vastine turns, throws like an absolute dime of a pass to Davis Diaz, applies the tag, and that is the end of the game.
Agreed.
It was, yeah.
It's a cardinal sin.
It is. And it was like one of the main rules of baseball that you're told is don't let your third out be going to third base. Is like they say it better on broadcasts, but it's like essentially there's no reason to go for like third base there, because scoring position is second and third, meaning anything that gets in the outfield, you're scoring from second. So why on earth, if any hit gets you home, why on earth are you running to third there? Like, the only thought is, oh, if they wild pitch, I'm there. But like, the frequency of that happening with the defenders at catcher that we have, as well as the pitchers that we have, slim to none. As well as the communication with our wristbands, like it doesn't make sense why he would go 3 there, because it doesn't give them any real benefit for the risk that they're taking. So it was stupid. Go into game 2, Hunter Owen. Hunter Owen plays a very good game. And our offense was just garbage. Like, it was kind of game one, considering we put up 5 runs, and we had been averaging about 12 in SEC play. But Mizzou's pitching is, like, we played Georgia, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. They are, like, bottoms of the SEC. Now, you might say, hey, that's because you guys shelled them. And so it is, like, a little bit of a what came first, chicken or the egg kind of argument there. But I think it's a little bit of a combination of both, where our offense is better than we expect it to be, and their pitching is a lot worse than we expected it to be. So, but Mizzou had been about, 6th in the SEC in terms of pitching at that time. And so they had their ace on Friday, who he pitched very well. We put up 4 runs, and we held a 4-3 lead going into the 9th inning. And Sam Leboki had been pitching since the 7th, and in he comes for the 9th for a 3rd inning. He gets 1 out pretty easily, and then he just gets 3 balls hit and loads the bases. Our defense made it so that that was they didn't get him home, so like we still had a chance at that point at a double play ball or something like that. I really would have liked us to go to like Jack Anderson at that time. Not because I don't trust Leboki in 3 innings, but because I really think that for a bullpen guy, when you're on your 3rd inning, like they're starting to understand your feel. If you're in the Vandy bullpen, it's because you're developing those 3rd, 4th pitches. You're not a starter right now, and I think that I think Leboki probably could be a starter if he developed a couple more pitches as he moved forward. But he's not there, and he's not trained to go that long. And so you can see that he's, coming down off like 2 1/3 strong innings, which is mostly what we ask for from those guys. And so I would have liked somebody that you can call on there that's just going to get you that inning. But because of the fact that, Cunningham pitched like game 1 as well as Maldo, you can't go to Maldo again. I think actually Cunningham went like 5, Schultz got like 6 or so, and then Maldo went something like that. Like it was, we just didn't have the guys that we trusted in high leverage situations. And so the thought process was actually a decent one. It was, okay, instead of putting out a guy who we can't walk people at this moment, because 1 walk and 1 swing leads to a win for them in that sense. We'll throw out a strike thrower, hope he can get through 1 more inning. I got the idea, and I don't even think it's a bad idea. I just think that maybe after like the first 2 hits, that's when you're like, okay, we literally can't have any more. And so bring in somebody who we trust to get a couple outs. And I would have liked Anderson there, because I think when Jack Anderson is on, he is one of the scariest relievers in baseball. When he is off, he is not good.
He's one of the scariest for us.
Yeah, he's like, it's almost like a more extreme version of Pat Riley early in his career, where it's like Pat Riley, he was like, yeah, I'm going to give you like 2 good innings and then I'm going to walk 8 guys. Like Jack Anderson, if he gets up there and his first pitch is a strike, like, okay, he's about to give me this inning where he strikes out all 3 people. But if he gets up there and his first pitch is a ball, it's like, well, all right, time to pull him. Maybe that's not a little extreme, but you get the point. So what happens is they get the base loaded, and then they give up a little knock, and then R.J. Shrek can't beat the right guy from second home. They win 5-4 in game 2, and that stopped our SEC winning streak at 10. So, but we still have a rubber match on Saturday where Futrell pitches. So you're always confident when you have a guy like that pitching. And that's even with, I said at the start of the season that I didn't think I trusted Futrell in the SEC, which is stupid of me. I just didn't think he was fast enough, had enough, spin on his ball to like actually compete. But he has arguably been the best pitcher that we have so far.
Yep.
Especially with availability. But so we're in a stretched bullpen after a demoralizing loss, and we're just at a point where, what are you gonna do? How do you respond to your first SEC loss of the season in a game that like it isn't must win, but like we're about to enter a very hard part of our schedule, and so we need to accumulate as many wins to offset some of the losses that we're going to have in the next few weeks, so that we can still retain that national seed. Because once you get to Omaha, anything can happen. But
gotta get
before
to
that, you want to host your regional and super regional. So just to be clear, that schedule that we have in the next bit is like South Carolina, Tennessee, Florida. Like we have all those teams I just listed are in the top 16, and Tennessee is better than a top 16 team. They just haven't put it together. Once they put it together, based on their talent alone, they're a top 8 team. But I hope they keep playing like they are while Vanderbilt plays them, because that's a team that we should be able to beat. Anyway, so Futrell pitches. We get 5 runs. I think Riley comes in at the end, and we win the game. It wasn't Sunday's game was pretty uneventful because it was just a lot of. It wasn't like a fireworks show like it had been in Mississippi State or Ole Miss or even Georgia to some extent. It was a good old-fashioned us shutting them out and systematically getting our runs, using a lot of small ball, kind of like what you expected from the Vanderbilt team before we had that offensive explosion to start SEC play. And so, yeah, it was a good game. And I think that every single game would have been like that had Carter Holton played. Because if you're able to say, okay, Holton does what Cunningham did in game 1, but better, so say they're at 2 runs instead of 3, which is pretty standard for Carter Holton. Cunningham comes in, gets the 3-inning save, for instance. You have Schultz and Maldo for game 2, and Leboke. So, Leboke can come in, and Maldo can get an inning in game 2. And then Futrell comes in, the other guy gets 1. When we have all of our pitchers healthy, it's so hard to comprehend.
There's a formula to success.
Yeah.
And it's all just getting through innings.
Yeah.
There's a set, mostly set number of innings that you have to get through in baseball. Mm-hmm. So you have to field a certain amount of pitchers to do that. And you know what you can expect of guys, like you're saying. You can't expect to take down some of those 27 outs with, the same guy. You can't expect Leboke to get 9 outs.
I think that in some cases you can.
In some cases, yes. But like you said, a big part of the reliever's game is that it's different.
Yes.
Than what they've seen all game. Once you start getting used to that, it loses. You lose your overall
it's not novel.
Edge.
Yeah.
Exactly. You lose the competitive edge because it's new. They get used to it and they start hitting.
Yeah. A reliever should get 1 time through the lineup.
Exactly. You shouldn't be facing the same guy again because then they'll figure you out and it's over.
Yeah, consistently. Yeah.
That's why you're not a starter.
Yes.
That's the difference. That's okay. That's just a different position.
Right.
So it's a formula where you have to subtract from the total number of outs that you need. When we have nice numbers. Mathematically.
Yeah.
We have some good math.
Guys that I can trust to get 6 innings a game. If we're just going to break it into 6 and 3, just based on optimal, I trust Holton, Owen, and Futrell to get me through at least 6 innings safe. And they've showed that all season against decent offenses.
Yep.
Guys that I trust to get 3 innings, Maldo and Cunningham. Those guys have showed you they can get you 3 innings. So then what? We have Leboke,
Schultz, Anderson,
Riley, Grayson Moore whenever he comes back from injury. I mean, he's a starter for our midweek, so I'm not including him.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
But, it's just guys
those are guys that'll give you 1 or 2.
Right, and so if you can, that means that you can supplement those guys that get 3 innings. If, say, Maldo's off and gets you 1 1/3, okay, throw in Jack Anderson's even get you 5 outs.
Yeah.
It's
not hard,
And we have those numbers when we're not losing 18 outs from Carter Holton.
Yeah,
and the fact is we still almost did. That's the craziest thing about it. Is our pitching depth is so deep that we lost our ace and we still had 2 outs away from enough pitching to sweep another SEC team off pitching alone. They only scored in their best game 5 runs. I think one could argue that we should have scored more than 5 runs and that would have helped us win the game. But just based on pitching alone, we have guys that will get us 27 outs and give you, without Carter Holton, we have guys that will give you 5 runs in games. Yeah. And so, I don't know. It's just, the Missouri series, though upsetting not to see Carter Holton play and upsetting to see a loss, I would almost argue is pretty encouraging. Because you have guys that now, say an injury happens, well, you know who's going to be that starter.
Yep.
Like, you know Cunningham's just going to get thrown right in the mix, and he's going to give you a chance to be competitive every week.
Yeah, it's that experience.
Yeah, it's when those days happen in regionals, or, on the off day when Carter Holton or Hunter Owen or Devin Fitzgerald don't look like the robots that they are, just throwing amazingly every week. You now know that on those random off days, you have a guy that's going to come in and pitch well. And I think that's really important, especially as you get into playoff baseball. We're not getting into playoff baseball just yet. We're still not even halfway through the season, because I think there are 30 games in the SEC. You play 10 teams. We are through 12. So we're about to reach the halfway point in the SEC season after this weekend. And say we win the series this weekend versus South Carolina, but don't win all 3 games. We will be 13-2 at the halfway point. I don't know how much I can... I don't know how much I can
one
argue
game,
that.
rats,
Yeah, one game versus Mizzou, one game versus South Carolina. That's a pretty optimal start to the season. If we can make it, I don't know if we play Arkansas this year, but if we do, and we can just split series, there's nothing.
No complaint.
Yeah, nah. It feels like we are at a very good position to national seed based on how well we started.
Yeah.
We would have to give up a lot of ground in the next little bit to really throw that away. And based on how this team pitches, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Finally, we played North Alabama.
Which one?
Yesterday.
Which Alabama?
North.
As opposed to South?
Yes.
And
It's
West.
USA. But we played North Alabama. We beat them in 7 innings. We beat them 14-2. It was us. I think Parker Nolan went 4 for 4, which is good because he needs to get his batting average and on-base percentage up. Because he had that one really good weekend, and that is his potential, and I know he can reach it because he's been on the podcast and I trust him. And so, if he takes that momentum and we can get some of those hits from the middle parts of our order that we didn't get versus Mizzou, versus South Carolina, I'm pretty confident we'll put up some runs.
Yeah.
Not to say that North Alabama's pitching is going to be equal to South Carolina's, because it won't be. But if we can even, I think Noland, Polk, and Bolger went 0 for 36 for the series against Mizzou. Not 0 for, but 3, I think.
Darn near, yeah.
Yeah, we need production from those 3 guys, because Bradfield, Diaz, RJ Austin, RJ Schreck are all going to get you some work. And then everybody else just needs to put in some. And and Maldo and Chris Maldonado. They're all going to put in some work. But Chris Maldonado struggled against Mizzou. But if you can get those other 4 guys to start giving you, batting 250, batting 300 kind of guys, I think that this team is really hard to stop.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to see how it goes against a top 6 team this weekend.
6.
Because I will be at least 2 of the games.
True.
I'll be fun.
Some buddies.
Yeah, facts.
Chris has an opening for the Saturday game.
I do have an opening for the Saturday game.
So if you want to go with him, hit him up.
Yeah. For all the 3 people that are watching by this point.
Yeah. Sorry, Brooke, you can't come.
No.
You're too far. I don't know who else watches at this point.
My mom.
Your mom. She won't be here, though.
She sadly no. Yeah, but we'll see. With that being said, that's all the baseball we have. And I know we have stuff to do. So I think this is all we have for this week. Get ready for the announcement for who our guest is next week. It'll be coming out on our Instagram relatively soon.
It'll be what?
You'll hear me. It'll be released on our Instagram relatively soon.
It'll be what?
Do you have anything to say before we end this?
No.
Awesome. Well then, from the Curb Center Studios, this has been Show 'Em The Dore. See y'all next week.